Recently, the Retired Japan YouTube channel has been doing quite well. Thank you so much if you're one of our subscribers or if you've liked and commented on our videos. Because of that, I've been getting quite a few questions recently. Is it worth doing YouTube in Japan in 2025? And if so, how can I start a channel? What kind of advice do you have? And so on. And if you've ever thought about starting YouTube in Japan, you might find this video useful. Let's talk about it. So maybe you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, or maybe you already have a YouTube channel, but you're not really doing much with it and it's not going so well, and you're thinking, well, should I carry on with this? My answer to that question would be maybe. So at the moment, YouTube is by far the most effective social media channel for Retired Japan. It's the one where we've been the most successful. It creates the most revenue out of all the social media channels. It's allowing us to reach more people than all the other social media channels. And so for us, YouTube has been fantastic. Whether it's going to be a good option for you is going to depend on a few things, but we're going to go through those bit by bit in the video, and by the end of it you should have a good idea whether it's something that you want to put time and effort into, because it is going to take quite a bit of time and effort. First of all, a bit of history. So Retired Japan is a community. It's an online resource for people in Japan to learn about personal finance, to ask questions and get information about personal finance, about investing, about retirement, about life in Japan. And Retired Japan started in 2013. We started off as a blog. And that eventually turned into a forum, an online community. We have some publications, and eventually we got started with YouTube. And the first time we started up the YouTube channel was actually in 2016. So the YouTube channel's been around since 2016, but we didn't do anything with it until 2022, more or less. So in 2022, I took a course called the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. This is run by Ali Abdal. And after taking the course, I put a lot more effort into YouTube. I started posting regularly. I started thinking about, the content and the appearance and so on of videos. And that really got us started on YouTube. We got monetized in 2023. So halfway through July 2023. So roughly 2 years ago, we first got monetized on the channel. I made a video last year talking about that progress, and then I guess this is our annual update with YouTube. This year has gone really well. So the first few months, we didn't post as regularly as we should have, but starting in May, we put a bit more effort into the videos. We've been uploading regularly, and we've seen quite a bit of success there in terms of subscriber numbers, in terms of views, even in terms of revenue. Talking about revenue, here are the numbers for our first year monetized on YouTube. And here are the numbers for our second year monetized on YouTube. And you can see that the last 2 months have seen quite a big uptick in our performance. And that's basically because of putting a bit more effort into videos and uploading a bit more regularly, and also possibly because I started wearing a suit in the videos, whereas before I was rocking the kind of I'm retired now, I can just wear slovenly t-shirts all the time. And my wife told me for years that I should make more of an effort and dress up, and that would make me more successful on YouTube, and I ignored her, and then I tried wearing a suit and suddenly our numbers went through the roof. So much as it pains me to say so, at least for our particular niche, dressing a bit more professionally seems to make quite a big difference. So if you do start with YouTube, it might be worth playing a little bit with how you look and how you talk and all the rest of it, just to find what is going to match your audience and so on. Now, in terms of making money, obviously we're not making much money from YouTube, even with these recent much better numbers. given the amount of time and effort that we have to put into the channel, it's not really worth it just from a financial perspective. So for us, our main motivation is to reach as many people as possible and share information. So in that way, it's worth doing YouTube, even if we didn't make any money from it, even if we weren't monetized at all. I think it would still be worth doing YouTube. It's a great way to reach new people and tell them about Retired Japan, that we exist, and bring people to the website and try and help them as much as possible, which is basically our mission here. So the biggest change this year, and the thing that's made the most difference for me, has been to batch shoot videos. By far the most difficult thing about making videos on YouTube for me is actually getting started, to sit down, get everything set up, and start making the video. That was the biggest hurdle for me. And so I found recently that if I could shoot 2 videos back to back, that actually reduces the setup time, it reduces the amount of work, and it reduces the kind of mental hurdle that blocks you from getting started. And so I found it basically took maybe 150% of the time to make 2 videos than it would have made to make 1. So we're saving a bit of time and we're making it a lot easier psychologically on ourselves. So basically that's what's made the biggest difference for me recently, is batch shooting videos. In order to do that, obviously, you need to have thought about the content, maybe prepared a script or an outline. I tend to work off an outline rather than a script. I have tried using a script, but it really didn't work very well. It came across as very monotonous, and I didn't enjoy shooting with a word-for-word script. So instead of that, I just have a kind of list of topics that I want to cover, and then I'll talk about it like this. Now, everyone's interested in equipment. And we actually spent a bit of money on the equipment for this channel. So I have a reasonable camera. I have a couple of lenses for that camera. I've got a shotgun mic for the camera. I've got a tripod, obviously we've got some lights. And that's made a small difference, but really you don't need any of this stuff. You could easily do pretty much exactly the same thing using a modern smartphone. So you don't need to buy equipment if you want to get started on YouTube, not necessary at all. You're going to need a smartphone basically in order to shoot your videos. You need something to edit with. I use DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is free software, unbelievably. So it's basically professional level software that you can use to edit videos, but it's free. There is a paid version, but you really don't need it. So you can just use the free version of that to edit pretty much anything you need to for a YouTube channel. When I started out, it did take me a really long time to make a video. I would say that between writing the content and shooting the video and then editing the video, it would probably take between 10 and 20 hours for each video, and most of that was the editing time. Since then, I've got more used to editing. I have more of a process now. It's much smoother, and also I'm not editing as much. So you probably noticed recently with our videos that they're fairly bare bones. It's basically just me talking to camera, and the editing is largely just removing unwanted sections, maybe having a few titles and so on the thing, but it's very quick for me to edit. I actually saw it in a Casey Neistat video where he was talking about his process, and he was saying that he basically shoots the entire video in order because that makes it much faster to edit, and that's basically what we do as well. I'll basically start talking. If I make any mistakes, I'll just chop them out. I'll repeat myself. I'll say the same thing over and over again until I get it to sound the way I want it to, and then in editing it's just a matter of going through and chopping bits out. So when I edit, I'll do 2 passes normally. I'll do the first pass where I'm just chopping out the unwanted bits, and then I'll do the second pass where I'm putting in any kind of titles or effects. You know, occasionally I'll do a little zoom in kind of thing, but not very often. And after those 2 passes, the video's ready, and I'm ready to download it and upload it to YouTube. Nowadays, it probably takes me about 3 hours to make a video. So maybe an hour for thinking about it, writing the script, etc. Maybe an hour to shoot it, and then maybe an hour to edit it. And that would include making the thumbnail and so on. We're aiming to upload at least 1 video a week to YouTube. So that basically means 3 hours a week of work. I'll probably spend an hour or so answering comments and so on. I'm still trying to answer most of the comments on the channel. This is quite time intensive, but I think it's worth it while we're still a smaller channel. For me, the best thing about doing Retire Japan is having the community and interacting with the community. So I enjoy answering comments on YouTube, that's fine. So let's say 4 hours a week, 16 hours a month, and we're making about 20,000. So it's basically under minimum wage in terms of the financial benefit of having a YouTube channel at the moment. Now, that's not the only financial benefit, obviously, because there's a fair amount of people who discover Retire Japan through YouTube, and then they go on to buy one of our ebooks, for example, or they'll book coaching session with me, and so there is that kind of promotional aspect of the channel as well. Now, I did mention Ali Abdaal's Part-Time YouTuber Academy earlier. For me, that was game-changing. It transformed the way I interacted with YouTube, and it made our current situation possible, I think. So if you meet certain conditions, I think it might be worth checking out that course as well. It's much cheaper now than when I took it. When I took it, I think it was $2,000 for the live course. So there's a live cohort that was being taught in real time. Nowadays, it's no longer a live cohort, it's an on-demand course. So the current price for PTYA is $995. It's about half what I paid. There seems to be more content on there now, so I still have access to it. So occasionally I'll go back and rewatch a video or watch one of the new videos. There's a lot of content on there. It's very, very solid. Now, who should be interested in this course? Who should check out this course? So Ali Abdaal is, I would say, an education kind of YouTuber, right? He's talking about, you know, how to study, how to be productive, all that kind of thing. He's educating his audience. And so I think Part-Time YouTuber Academy is a really good fit for education type channels. Now, Retire Japan is also an education type channel. It's the same kind of niche. So it was incredibly useful to see, you know, Ali Abdaal's thought process, his kind of editing process. It was a really good fit for what I wanted to do with Retire Japan. The next thing that might help is if you already have a business. So, you know, I already had Retire Japan, it was making a small amount of money, and so I was able to pay for the course using some of the profits from the business, basically. And I think in that situation, it might make sense because, you know, you can kind of write it off against your taxes and so on. And the third factor is whether you might enjoy doing YouTube. So I used to do a lot of presentations, I used to run workshops. It's been a big part of my professional life and I enjoy it. I think I'm quite good at it. So for me, moving to YouTube was a fairly obvious step. It was the same thing. It's kind of public speaking, it's teaching, and I quite enjoyed it right from the start. Now, if you don't enjoy public speaking, if you don't like putting yourself out there, might not be as good a fit. So I would say if you are going to make educational style content, informational style content, if you already have a business that's generating some money and you're going to use YouTube to expand the reach of that business, and if you enjoy talking and putting yourself out there a little bit, then yeah, you might find Part-Time YouTuber Academy useful. I have a link in the description if you want to check it out as well. So is it worth starting a YouTube channel in Japan in 2025? Well, it might be. It kind of depends on what you want to achieve. So I think if you want to, you know, make money from YouTube, if you want to make a living off YouTube, I'm not sure that's a very realistic goal, really. So the number of people that get to the point where they can actually make a living off YouTube, not a huge amount of people. Doing YouTube in Japan, so one thing about YouTube is that at least the AdSense, the revenue you get from the adverts that are run on YouTube, very much depend on where your audience is. So, for example, viewers in Japan are worth much less than viewers in, say, North America or in Europe. So if your audience is largely outside Japan, you might find it more financially rewarding to do YouTube. If your audience is in Japan, like ours, it's a bit less financially rewarding. It also depends on the kind of topics that your channel covers. So we obviously do mostly personal finance. That is one of the most lucrative categories on YouTube. If you were doing something like, you know, video game playthroughs, that's not particularly lucrative, and so there's less potential to make money doing that. I would say if you find YouTube interesting, it might make for an interesting hobby. It might allow you to create or grow a community. It might help you grow your business if you have a business. And so, yeah, it's basically worth thinking about. For us, it's been really good. I've enjoyed it. It's allowed us to reach a lot more people. It's starting to make a little bit of money. And so YouTube so far has been a huge win for me. I'm going to keep at it. Our next goal, obviously, is to get to 100,000 subscribers if we can do that. But that's not the point. The point is that I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy interacting with people in the comments section. And I'm hoping that this content is helping people in Japan. So how about you? Do you have a YouTube channel? How's it going? Any tips for us if you're doing better than we are? Please leave us a comment with a link to your channel. I'd love to check them all out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.